Thank you for tuning in. This is the No1 podcast. I am your host, Coach Jake. What's up, Matthew and Craig, and the Don Black Jiu Jitsu Viking, Laughing Badger, Armani Sports. Good to see you guys. So, it is Thursday. Is it Thursday? It's Thursday. That is nuts. That is nuts. So I hope you guys are doing good. Let's turn a little bit of light up here. Hope you guys are getting all the stuff done that you need to get done. Hope you guys are achieving your goals. And man, yeah, we've been having a good time. John L. Sullivan Jr., X marks the spot. What's up, people? Give me a hey in the chat. Laughing Badger. Happy to see all you guys. So, oh, the Don Black just got a shout out from Coach Jake. That's it for the day. I have peaked. All right. What's up, dude? What's up, the Don Black? What are you doing? Where are you at, man? Where are you at? Hit me up in the chat. Let me know where you're at. I want to talk today about getting from no, like the word no. If you're hearing the word no, maybe it's because you don't know, K-N-O-W something, right? So let's think about getting what you want out of your life. Okay, so what do you want? Anybody in the chat, tell me, what are you trying to do? John L. Sullivan, you're out in Cleveland, Ohio. What is up, dude? The Don Black in South Africa. Holy jeez, that's amazing, man. The only thing I know about South Africa, obviously, is I had to do a report on apartheid when I was in high school, so that was a long time ago. And D. Ontward and the whole Zeph thing. I don't know. I don't know much else. I'd love to get down to, I think, isn't Botswana down in that area? Like it's in Central Africa, I think. I hear it's gorgeous. Anyway, what are your goals? Hit me up in the chat. What are your goals? I want to talk about it. Because if you're getting no's, Bushido Born 76, what's up? If you're getting a no, I want to see if it's because it's something you don't know, K-N-O-W, right? So let's think about this. Let's think about it in, you want to start winning in business, or do you want to start winning in grappling or martial arts, or in your relationships, okay? And you're getting no's, like you want something. What's up, Uncle Life? What's up, Frederico Rampoloto? Happy to see you guys here. Thanks for joining me. So the Don Black, my goal is to be a respected music producer and pro wrestler. Okay, so I'm guessing Don, I don't know if I can call you that, Mr. Black, so you're not one yet. Maybe you're a music producer, but it says your goal, so you haven't achieved it. So what are you doing? First step is you need to actually start. You've got a goal, which is huge, right? That's a great thing. But now you actually have to start implementing it. So to be, I don't know much about being a music producer, but I would imagine the first step is to producing music. So you've got to actually start composing or working with artists and that kind of thing. But you've got to start networking and asking them, hey man, you want to do a project together? And if you're new, you're going to start getting no's. That's so far away from being a respected music producer. So you got to take action. That's the first step, right? You've got to actually start producing. You've got to start asking people, and you're going to get no's at the beginning. So just like the show name is number one, but it's really the gimmick is how do you go from no one to number one, right? No one to number one. How do we go from getting no's to getting yeses? And in between no and yes is K-N-O-W, knowing, knowledge. Okay. So with regards to, say, music, obviously start producing music if you aren't already. Fair, right? Do you already have music that you're making that you put up somewhere? The next step then would be to start like kicking ass with it. But to kick ass, you've got to find out what people want, right? You're saying you want to be respected. Well, respect is from other people. I'm in the entertainment industry, live music, TV, radio, mostly theater. This is from the Don Black. I'm hoping to get the company into music production. Okay. So what's the first step? You're already in the industry. So you've got to actually start creating a product or a service, a company. That would be step one. Then you've got to start actually talking. So you want to be respected. You've got to start doing those things that earn respect. And especially, they're not all respect is created or equal. You want to get the respect of influencers, for lack of a better term. So I'll give you an example. Okay, you want to also do pro wrestling, so I'll show you what I did. So I've always been in martial arts from when I was 4 years old, 1977. I started. My mom put me in wrestling. Did that, then moved into Karate Kid McDojo shit. Then moved into boxing, and then moved into judo, then did some jiu-jitsu, and then circled back to wrestling, then did pro wrestling, and then did catch wrestling, right? That's my 40-year journey. Okay, well, how old am I? Shit, that's 45-year journey. Okay, so that's for the last 45 years, that's kind of what I did. Now, a lot of people have done that stuff, but why have I, the things that I do are respected. I'm constantly called to be on podcasts. I was on 2 podcasts yesterday, another one a couple days ago. I'll be on 2 this weekend because people want to hear what I have to say. Why though? So a couple things. One, like I said, I took a lot of action. So of course I went and studied as much as I could, but I didn't just haphazardly study because I wanted to be number 1 in catch wrestling. In Catch as Catch Can. I wanted Scientific Wrestling, my company, to be number 1. So what did I do? So I was already immersed in it. Like say you're immersed in music and entertainment. I was immersed in it. Well, immediately I started to really try to be the best I could at what I did. That started earning me respect amongst my peers because I worked hard. I made sure my cardio was on point. I made sure that I was studying and I was learning as much as I could and getting on the mat and rolling. Matthews and Craig, what's up, brother? He says, my goal is to improve my grips from judo into no-gi wrestling grips. Yeah, totally different, right? The gi, they're completely different strategies for tying up and controlling a man when you can use your hands to close on fabric versus a sweaty mass of flesh. You've got to be able to tie up with them differently. That kind of thing is better. Come to Coach and Catch. We've got we're launching the Science of Violence tour. The Science of Violence tour. Get out to it. coachingcatch.com. I'll put it up. I don't have it for you Instagram people, but get up there. We're going to be in just outside of Ontario, California, in the Mojave Desert again, Pinion Hills Martial Arts Retreat Center. You got it, dude. This is like a working vacation. Well, I mean, it's not even work if you're not a professional. But we have a lot of professionals. Like our last camp, we had Bellator flyweight champ Liz Carmouche showed up to the camp, to the accelerator. It was a great time. Anyway. If you want to figure out the grips, come to Coach Catch. We'll show you how to tie up and improve your no-gi game tremendously in just 2 days. It's immersion though, right? So it's a grind. It's 6 hours a day. So anyway, okay, you want to get good. And so what I did is I did the best I could. Then you're going to have to take some sort of risk. You're going to have to, like for me, I was in Colorado, going to University of Colorado Boulder. I think I was 20 years old. And there was nobody here. I was just doing challenge matches at in the mat room at the rec center for the University of Colorado Boulder, and at various places like Boulder Karate and stuff like that, where we were flying in people for seminars. But there was nobody. There was nobody. So what I did is I packed up my bags, I took a risk, and I flew to California, where I settled originally for a little bit over a year, not quite 2 years, but close. Worked with a guy named Carly Gracie in San Francisco. And then Half Gracie opened a school, and I went down there. He was never there. Curdy Osiander was teaching the classes. I was there for about 6 months. Then I moved over to Berkeley and started working out at a couple clubs there. And meanwhile, now I'm starting to go to seminars, because I already done seminars with the biggest names I knew at that time: Pedro Sauer, this is 94, 95, Ricardo Miguel, Caseca Munez. So now I'm in California. I'm in Northern California, which is not the hotbed yet, okay, of MMA. I go down eventually to LA to continue studying. First place I step in, I was staying in this hotel. I moved from Berkeley. I had a job, and right after grad school, I moved to LA, into this place. I don't know how many of you are old school LA people. There's a place called the Farama Hotel. It's kind of by the airport, between the airport and Marina Del Rey. And you could do long-term stays at this hotel. And it was perfect to transition while me and my girlfriend moved there, and we looked around for an apartment to stay. But this is what I'm telling you. I took action. I took a risk. So I had studied, did everything I could in Colorado. It wasn't good enough. Went to Northern California. Did everything I could there. Wasn't good enough. Moved to Southern California. Slowly ratcheting it up, right? And at this point, I'm already doing pro wrestling bookings. I'm having more success with my goal of getting known, doing something, but I'm still not, I still like real grappling. It's just, I'm not feeling at home with jiu-jitsu, and I'm doing pro wrestling. I'm touring the United States. I'm getting exposure. I'm blowing up. It's great. Then I have an opportunity. I'm like, oh man, Ultimo Dragon, for those of you who don't know, in the pro wrestling world, super badass dude, highly decorated professional wrestler out of Japan. Came up, I think, out of All Japan, if I'm not mistaken. He was having, he opened his doors for the first time ever to allow people to come train there. I jumped on it. It was actually Sonny Ono who hooked me up with the opportunity. He knew him. So I went down there. I was the first foreigner to go train at now it was an all Japanese dojo in the middle of a suburb of Mexico called Naucalpan. And so went there, stayed there for about 7 days, trained with the guys from T2P. Do you see what's happening? So I'm getting to better and better quality information. And I'm slow. This is before the internet. I didn't know how to network. I'm just a young man hustling my ass off, trying to do the best I can to achieve my goals. So now Ultimo Dragon, I'm like, oh shit. I started training for the first time in a Japanese style pro wrestling dojo. This was a mind blower for me because, like I said, I was already not happy with the style of grappling I'd learned, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I just didn't have takedowns. I didn't like the gi. It just wasn't like a wrestling oriented grappling system. And it was cool, not knocking it. Just wasn't. Some people like chocolate, some people like vanilla, some people like strawberry. It wasn't the flavor for me. So I keep searching, end up in this Japanese style dojo, pro wrestling dojo. And what I find is that they actually wrestle, they grapple for real in practice. I am like, oh my God, I have found my people, right? So I do this, I'm excited. I'm like, oh, I see the light. I come back a week later to the United States and get back. I go on a tour with the Vans Warped Tour in 2001, the summer right before 9/11, tour the entire United States and Canada, have a match with Vampiro in the Toronto Sky Dome. So I'm ratcheting up, right? Like, because I trained with Ultimo Dragon, I was the guy they decided wanted to wrestle Vampiro. So now I wrestled a big name. So I'm taking action and I'm taking risks and I'm putting myself out there slowly. But I get back to the States. I am still like, oh my God, I can't handle this pro wrestling shit. Like these guys, like my phony fighting is better than your phony fight. The mentality drove me nuts because I knew I could tie these guys in a knot if we actually had a real match. And here we are, thousands of people, and I've got to take a loss to some fat dude that I know I could smoke. No offense against heavy people. I'm just saying, like, he was not in shape, didn't know how to wrestle, and yet I have to take a loss. So I'm like, okay, I know now because I've taken risks. I put myself out there. I've tried to train with these people, right? And now notice the no's I'm getting are actually for myself. I'm like, no, this isn't it. This isn't it. I keep trying, but I keep adding knowledge, KNO, to dissolve the NOs. Does this make sense? So now I know that what there is like a submission style that these Japanese pro wrestlers are doing. What is this? Now, cosmically, or whatever you want to call it, that is right when it was the peak of Sakuraba. He was mowing through people. And now I'm seeing this guy, and he calls himself a pro wrestler in Pride, in MMA, smoking people. Now I'm like 100%. I'm like, oh, fuck. I know what this is. I need to like double my KNO. I need to double my knowledge. I need to 10x my knowledge. I need to really figure this shit out. Now I know it exists. You're not going to fucking stop me because I KNO. So the knowledge itself was motivating. The fact that I was onto something. It was like, oh my God, all this shit, all these vibes, these feels I had totally confirmed. But it was because I took that risk, flew to Mexico, had to get a passport, all this shit, took all this action and got there. And meanwhile, I'm still like, hey, you want to try real wrestling? And getting no's and no's and no's from the pro wrestling guys. I'm like, okay, this is lame. So I forget about pro wrestling. I go back into grappling. I spent about, I think I started 2000 and I wrestled pretty seriously trying to make something happen in pro wrestling for about 2 years. I even got a tryout at the WWE for the first season of Tough Enough. I don't even know if you guys even remember that old show. That's the one where Daniel Puder put Kurt Angle in a wrist lock. I think that was season 2, double wrist lock. I was in, I tried out for season 1. I think there was like over 5,000 applicants and they only accepted like 25 people to try out. So I was like less than 1%, the top 1/2 of 1% of that time. Again, the internet's still not strong. The Don Black says taking a risk often leads to the best opportunities. Okay, I'm going to actually go one further. You're right. You're right, the Don Black. Taking a risk leads to the best opportunities. I'm going to even go further. The biggest risk you have is not taking a risk. How's that for counterintuitive? The biggest risk that you currently are exposed to is the fact that you're not taking risks. I don't know how else to put it. Okay. So now I'm trying to do grappling. I see Sakuraba. I start trying to figure out who the fuck this guy is. I start seeing all this stuff about catch wrestling. Then in black belt, I see an ad for Matt Fury selling some shit, which is like what he does. And on it, Carl Gotch, and he's talking about catch wrestling. And now I'm clicking. I'm like, okay. And I'm already involved deeply with the Cauliflower Alley Club, which I don't know if you know what that is. It's like a fraternal organization of pro wrestlers. So I start talking to the old timers because it's great. It's filled with these people with knowledge. I start asking them, how do I learn this? Who do I talk to? That eventually leads me to knowing Dick Cardle. That eventually leads me to start working out in Gene LaBelle's club. Well, Gocord's club, but Gene was teaching on Monday nights back then. It was probably 2004. Okay. I start seeing all this shit with Carl Gotch. I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. And now I'm starting to see Billy Robinson's name pop up, especially because I'm really studying Sakuraba. I'm like, that's what I need to do. This is Do you see how all the data points came together because I had data, and I had data because I took action and started gathering data points. I took risk, went out, and truly like uprooted my entire life, moved. I've moved. Oh my God. You don't even know how many times I've moved. Like, it's ridiculous. We've got Super Black Demigod. Whoa, that's a handle. Is 30 years old to start MMA. I mean, dude, it's a case by case basis, as Fujiwara would say, case by case. Are you fat? Are you not motivated? Do you have a glass jaw? Do you have access to? Here's the thing that slowed me down, and why I went pro wrestling instead of MMA. I had contacts in pro wrestling. I did not have anybody connected in MMA. Okay. Now, we want to talk about turning no's into yeses through KNOW, through knowledge. Okay, people say it's not what you know, it's who you know. It's both. Okay, if you really want to blow up, you really want to succeed, you need to know your shit. It is what you know. Okay, but it's also who you know. And back then, I had nobody that I knew that was connected in a booking capacity for MMA, but I knew people in pro wrestling, like Sonny Ono and a couple other people. That's how I started. But I ended up working my way back, not into MMA per se. I did go to the very first Team Quest fight camp thing that they held up in, I think it was in Oregon. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was. I mean, it was the first one they held. This was in 2003. And it was fun. I did it. Got punched by Ryan Schultz, who's like I think it was the IFL middleweight champ. Got my bell rung by Ryan Schultz. I was like, yeah, I don't know if I'm into the concussion part, or my hands would hurt from the little hairline fractures from punching. So I was like, I'm a grappler. I like grappling, but I tested it out. That's how I knew. Now, I end up, the Don Black says, Coach Jake with the $1 million wisdom. Thanks, brother. It says, this is what I've been telling people. It doesn't help you to know people if you don't know your shit. So there's so many of these stupid bromides that need to be fucking improved, right? like it's not what you know, it's who you know. It is what you know, and it is who you know. Or don't work hard, work smart. Well, work hard and work smart. Then you'll beat both motherfuckers, right? These things need to be updated. We need to, some of these like things that are just bopping around in our head, they actually affect our thinking, sadly, and they just pass in critically unreviewed. Okay, that's your fault. If something passes your critical review and you end up doing something, that's on you. That's nobody else's fault. Okay. Now, I'm not talking fraud. If somebody lies to you, misrepresents, steals from you, that is the other person's fault. But if somebody's open and transparent with you and direct, and you uncritically accept it, that's on you. Okay. We live in the age of the internet. Every single person listening to the sound of my voice right now should going at least Google, study, memorize, and start applying what are known as the informal fallacies of logic. The Wikipedia's got them, okay? Informal, INFORMAL, informal fallacies of logic. Just it'll serve you. That's your fault if shit bypasses your critical faculty, okay? Now, again, I'm not saying if somebody lies. I'm saying if somebody just seduces you into something, hey, you're complicit, motherfucker. Like, deal. Anyway, so now I've got all this information. I've got all this KNOW knowledge. I know about Carl Gutch. I know about Billy Robinson. I know about Sakuraba. I know about all this shit about Japanese pro wrestling and the connection to Catch as Catch Can. Now I'm like, okay, right? The last place I worked out as a pro wrestler was in Hayward, California. It was with a satellite gym for Pro Wrestling Noah, which, by the way, is where Sakuraba wrestles today, does his pro wrestling. Okay. Pro Wrestling Noah, like Noah's Ark. Called Pro Wrestling Iron. It was run by Michael Modest and Donovan Morgan and Bison Smith. Rest in peace, Bison Smith. He was a CU buff like me as well. Gigantic, badass dude. Anyway, they started training in the same way. So now I'm in Northern California again. I'd moved back. It's complicated. But anyway, long story short, now it's clicking. So guess what I did? I wrote a fucking letter to Carl Gotch. I'm already working out Gene LaBelle's place. I write a letter to Carl Gotch. Totally, I just find his address. Like nobody else could find it. I don't know what the deal was, but I found it. KNOW, getting past NOW. I write this letter and I blast it out to him. And I'm actually, because of wrestling, I'm sitting on the site. I'm an extra in a movie, an Adam Sandler movie called The Longest Yard with a bunch of pro wrestlers. I think Great Khali, Stone Cold. Who else was in it? Maybe Kevin Nash. I can't remember. Anyway, I'm sitting on set. It's in between takes. I'm bored as fuck. And my phone rings. My T-Mobile Sidekick rings. This is like 2004, I want to say. Like summer of 2004. Rings. And I'm like, oh, who is it? I don't know. Is it Florida? Tampa? What? Pick it up. It's fucking Carl Gotch. Take a risk. Seek out those people who do know. Now I'm actually speaking with the guy who's responsible for that Japanese style of pro wrestling with shooting, where everybody's doing Hindu squats and actually wrestling in practice for real. And I'm talking to the guy who's responsible for inspiring Pancrase MMA, which opened its gates a month before UFC. And it already had shoot style influences from Pro Wrestling Fujiwara Gumi, the UWF. And I'm sitting here talking with Carl Gotch, and we hit it off because he could hear my sincerity, my passion to learn, to KNOW. And I didn't get a no. So many people Carl gave an NO to, a no. He was famous for being curmudgeonly and like not suffering fools lightly. But because I was there to know KNOW, and I was like hungry and humble and didn't bullshit him. I was like, dude, you're clearly fucking the god. Just let me just sit here like a sponge and absorb anything and everything you say. And I did. And you know what? He said I'd bug him. And I did get to work out with him a couple times, okay? But he was old. He had hip replacements. He had sworn off training after his wife, Ella, had passed away, okay? And it kind of had some bad experiences with some people. But I did get to work out with him a couple times, which was amazing. Amazing. This is, again, where I held my first Gata mace. It was made of wood. Gave me the idea to make it out of steel and bring it to market for the modern weightlifting crew. When you go to a gym, things aren't made out of wood, they're made out of steel. So I was like, I'm gonna make a mace bell. Kettlebells were hot. I was like, okay, mace, bell, kettle, bell. Let's go. Does this make sense? All of this was because I took fucking action. I took big risks. I moved to like halfway across the fucking country to a place where I knew no one. I had no job skills. I was working like 4 minimum wage jobs. It was brutal. I did it anyway. Do it anyway. You know, Billy Robinson, I've got Do It Again tattooed on my arm. But I think just as important is the idea of do it anyway. Okay. And I did it anyway. That's what you have to do. So let's see here. We've got a couple comments here. Super Black Demigod. I have a Greek god chin. Dude, with a name like Super Black Demigod, dude, you gotta be fucking rocking. I have a Greek god chin and I have demigod abs. If I go to the MMA gym, can I get started? Then go, dude. Go. Be sure to tell all the guys that you have a demigod abs and a Greek god chin. I'm sure they'll fucking love that. What's up, the Flexos? Super Black Demigod says, but wrestling boxing would be a good kit to have. Yeah, it's the best. In fact, wrestling. We know this statistically that wrestling is the best base for MMA. And, I'm actually super excited because, I launched the Scientific Wrestler affiliate program. Go to scientificwrestler.com. You can sign up to be an affiliate gym. Now, I added a bunch of doodads onto it, like business training, marketing, a marketing piece to help you actually get a bunch of leads and then sales training to help you close the leads, some business development stuff. I give you a handful, like a library of products to sell. I give you a great brand, the number one brand in the space, all kinds of stuff. But part of all of that, in addition to all that, you get the curriculum that I co-developed with Billy Robinson, which is the Coaching Catch program. If you want to come, again, go to coachingcatch.com. It has all the dates. We have 5. It's a 5-city tour that we're doing. 2 in California, 1 in North Carolina, and then 1 in Phoenix and 1 in Denver. You'll have to go to the site to get the dates. I don't have it memorized off the top of my head. But that curriculum is the culmination of my 45 years in grappling, wrestling, and martial arts, and adding that together. Co-developed by Billy Robinson. A lot of stuff from Dick Cardinal, Wade Chalice. These are guys that were head coaches with my company before they passed. And Wade's still with us, but after COVID, it kind of fucked things up a bit in terms of bookings. Anyway, the curriculum is top notch, and I'm super excited because you're talking about MMA. Our first American affiliate, our first affiliate was actually also our first international affiliate. It's Scientific Wrestling Canada in Windsor, Ontario, Canada, with Marco and Carmen up there. But our first American affiliate was here in Denver, which is fantastic because these guys will tell you, I bend over backwards. This is part of my mission. I don't know. Anybody who knows the mission, I might give away something. If you're the first person in the chat to type what the mission of Scientific Wrestling is, I'm not telling you what I'm going to give you right now, but I'm going to give you something good. Anyway, our first American affiliate is with V10 Training, which is Vicious Vern Earwood, who is a Colorado legend in the MMA and boxing scene. Well, he wanted it to supplement his existing training and his existing company, V10. So he was the first American affiliate. We now have, I think we're at 7, if not 8 affiliates. I may actually have to check because the first 8 got a $2,000 discount, and I'm not even sure if that exists now. It's probably at the full price for the next 25, and then it'll go up another. It's going to actually go up 50% after the next 25 sign on. You can check it out, scientificwrestler.com. Let me just throw that up here so you guys can check that out. Anyway, super amazing. Oh, Super Black Demigod he says, informal what? Informal fallacies. Okay, this is for critical thinking. Fallacies, Fallacies, informal fallacies. Everybody, it's mental self-defense, okay? Trust me, you'll be glad you have it. And you need to live by it. You can't be violating them once you know them, okay? Because it's a code for actually being ethical and honest and direct and trying to find facts and truth, okay? The Greeks were very big about a lot of this, okay? They were the ones that developed all. If you did any kind of forensic debate in high school, this was a lot of it, the stuff that you would learn originally, okay? The informal fallacies. Anyway, at V10 Training here, we've got a squad of about 15 people. I've been running a training camp for them for the last, I think it's 3 weeks or 4 weeks maybe. That's going to culminate, and I think about 5 or 6 of these guys have big MMA fights with money on the line and belts on the line. So super duper amped, very confident these guys are coming back with the gold. Stay tuned. This is going to be just super great for the affiliate program too, just because you know, we want to raise everybody's level. Okay. I want you guys to benefit from what I have learned. Okay. And in addition, so have you guys ever heard of the Clifton Strengths Assessment? It's like a Myers-Briggs or a DISC assessment. I take all these assessments. I love them. They're fun. But the Clifton Strength Assessment is it basically finds what your strengths are. Okay. And this is how brilliant Billy Robinson was, by the way. He nailed it. The one compliment, the big compliment that he gave me, as he said, Jake is a great learner. And that's actually what the Clifton Strength Assessment. So that's why I think in my role, I've really been able to integrate and synthesize so much of this information to make it usable for people. Anyway, the guys over at V10, the fight team over there, is loving it, dude. Loving it. So I'm super amped. You can follow on the Instagram. I'll be sure to post all that stuff up for you guys. Anyway, yeah, we got a crap ton of people tuning in. I appreciate it. Guys, I'm gonna wrap this, okay? But I want you to know the idea is to get past no, you need to know. Okay? It might be what and it might be who. And it probably is going to be a combination of the two. All right. What's up, Kendo Jedi? How many push-ups and squats? The typical thing that Carl would run you through, he wouldn't teach anything unless you did it. I had to do it. Is he'd either do the Gosh Bible, which is actually slightly less. I don't know the calculation, but it's just slightly less, not quite exactly. Or if he was running a tryout, it would be 500 Hindu squats done correctly. Well, I mean, it wasn't even tryout. This was done every practice before you even started wrestling. 500 Hindu squats, 250 Hindu push-ups, 3 minutes of bridging, and then some road work, which is similar to road work in boxing, and then possibly some partner calisthenics. Then you'd go through and start wrestling because, Carl was huge on conditioning, right? Kendo Jedi says CWO. Yeah, dude, catch world order, bro. Don Black says improve, win, do it again. Dude, exactly, man. You obviously been to the Scientific Wrestling website. That's like, if you go to scientificwrestling.com, that's the big banner there. Yeah, so guys, this is what I'm trying to get across to you. Yeah, you're welcome, Kendo Jedi. No problem. Trying to get across to you that you're gonna have to take it's knowledge and action and risk. Knowledge, action, and risk to get you to yes, to get you to a win. That could be getting a date with the girl that you've been trying. I'm not one of these stupid pickup artists. I'm talking like straightforward. I mean, I've been married 16 years, been with my wife 17. We got 3 kids. My wife's amazing, gorgeous, a good person, brilliant, that kind of stuff, right? So how'd that happen? Persistence. It's actually connected to Carl Gotch. I think I've told this story before. One of the other things is Carl said, listen, if we're going to continue to work together, you're going to have to go rescue a pit bull. He was huge about it. And I was like, okay, man, whatever you say. So at the time I was living on Venice Beach. My cousin, who is an aspiring actress at the time, she's actually done quite well for herself. She's been on, she's one of the 2 girls on I Mom So Hard. Have you heard of that TV show? It's probably not the right audience. I Mom So Hard. My cousin is Kristen, but this is before she was successful. She's been in like Super Bowl commercials and stuff like that. Anyway, she was living with me, and to live with me on this bomb ass apartment I had overlooking Venice Beach, which I could only afford because I had my master's degree in financial math and was working in investment banking and had a lot of money in my early 30s. I said, hey, can you find me an animal rescue? Carl's saying like, I have to do this to continue. And so she finds me this animal rescue, and I'm like, it has to be a pit bull. So it's like in the ghetto off of Centinela, which is kind of down by Compton Watts. I show up one weekend, roll in, and the woman who is fostering the dog that I end up rescuing, and I have her her tattooed on my arm. Lulu is what this says. It's Lulu. Um, she it was my future wife, and she was hot. I told my cousin, I said, this woman's gonna be mine. I go over, talk to her, right? You have to take a risk. It's who you know, clearly. So I just was directed inside. I was like, I need to know this person because, first of all, I want this dog. This was the pit bull I wanted. And then this woman was gorgeous. And we started talking. I actually exchanged MySpaces. We both had T-Mobile Sidekick phones. Like nobody had them at that time. And I saw she was on MySpace. I'm like, whoa, you're on MySpace? This was like nobody was doing it. And we exchanged, and she was traveling a lot for her job. And I didn't get to see her again for like 3 months, but we talked on the phone. And I got to KNOW. I got to know her. And that got past the nose. And so I was persistent, took a lot of action, made sure I was present there. And when she came back to LA, I was like, hey, let's go out. And she was like, yeah, okay. Because then she knew me and we knew each other. And there was that trust. It wasn't anyone. It's not like one of these sketchy fucking manipulative creepers, pickup artist types. Right. And because of that, the relationship, the partnership has been going strong for 17 years, right? Married 16, 3 kids. We work together. We run now that company she was working for, we both run it. She's the head of it because she was working there. And frankly, it's not my passion, but I do love business development. I helped her grow that company into a big company now, right? 28-year-old software company. That's like dog years in software. Super Black Demigod, thank you for blessing us with your aura and wisdom. Hey, I'm just telling you, I feel that like blessed with my life. Okay. To have trained with Carl Gotch and learned and been mentored by him for 4 years at the pinnacle, at the end of his life, at the pinnacle of everything he knew. And likewise with Billy Robinson for 7 years. And to know people very well, like Gene LaBelle. He used to take me to the Sportsman's Lodge in LA and introduce me around and network me around. And I mean, I'm so blessed. Okay. And because I feel so grateful for this amazing life, this having a wonderful family, healthy kids, success in business, success in my passion, the respect of my peers, right? Because I feel that way, I want to share that. I came up blue collar, man, poor. And if I can do great things, anybody can do great things. I mean, here I am, a kid with blue collar parents, neither went to college. I almost died twice. I died of a gangrene infection when I was 10, and then of cancer when I was 15. Messed up, dude. Busted ass. And it was knowledge that really, everything's mental. Even athleticism is mental first. Doing the mind stuff first to get the body to do these crazy things. Crazy, miraculous things. I mean, look at fucking extreme sports. I think extreme sports, I had some friends that are, a good friend of mine actually is head of Thrasher magazine now. He was a college roommate. So I had some exposure to extreme sports. I'm just a transport skateboarder. I don't even like half pipe, but I used to skateboard all around, in particular when I lived in San Francisco because of the hills. But you look at these extreme sports, what these guys can do, and it's mental, dude. Go Google Danny Way and his jump over the Great Wall of China and tell me that's not pure mental power fueled by physical skill, but it was the mind that made it happen. Look at somebody like Wim Hof. It's mental first. And that's what I'm trying to do here. What I'm trying to do with scientific wrestling, if you're into grappling, if you're into pro wrestling, if you're into MMA, scientific wrestling is the place to go, period. Okay? Now, I'm not going to teach you the punching and kicking. That's not my passion. my knowledge base. I've done boxing. I know boxing, but I'm not like an expert in boxing. There's people that I am an expert in catch can wrestling. Very lucky to induct Billy Robinson into the International Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame in Albany, New York, at the MVP Arena a couple weeks ago. Fantastic experience. So, if I can tell you anything, if you want to get past the no's, you need to know. And it's not just what you know, it's also who you know. Not exclusively who you know, because those who's need to know that you actually know a what. But everything you want is on the other side of knowing first. And so, I mean, I am, my strengths are as a great learner, according to Billy Robinson and the Clifton Strengths Assessment. And as such, I have taken what I've learned and I'm helping other people with that, right? So I have a business client and they hired me to help with their sales team, to get their sales team in alignment. That's what I do, okay, is I do sales training. Now, what is that? And again, I don't do the manipulative, weird NLP, cross your legs this way, or if they look up left, it means that's bullshit. It's all bullshit. I actually wrote a book about how it's all bullshit, but that's neither here nor there. It's not scientific. It's bullshit. What works is being direct, and what works is getting people to know you and building good relationships. And so we started working with this team, and inside of 1 month, their sales increased over 20%, just because of they were getting no's on their sales. And that changed because we changed it and they started becoming professionals and learned the actual technical way to sell ethically, transparently. This is why I teamed up with Grant Cardone. He's the fucking master. Just like Carl Gotch, Billy Robinson, Gene LaBelle. These guys were masters of grappling. And so, Grant is a master of business. Same with Brandon Dawson, another one of my mentors. That's why I sit at their feet, absorb, and I'm blessed. It's made my life fantastic. And I want to help you guys if you'll let me. Okay. But I will find that there's one thing that I have found, and I found this when I teach grappling or when I teach business or anything, because I used to do everything for free. And I have these moments where I get back and I'm like, oh, I'm going to just do something for free. And every single time, I'm done touching that hot stove, because every single time, Grant Cardone once said to me one time, he said, if they don't pay, they don't pay attention, because people are not invested. This is why, now that doesn't necessarily mean money. This is why Carl said, I'm not going to teach you anything unless you pay me with 500 squats, 250 Hindu push-ups, and bridging gymnastics, because they're not invested otherwise. That's not easy to do. Try it. You'll have a hell of a time getting up off the toilet or walking up and down the stairs if you do that many squats, okay? It'll make you a badass, though. Kendo Jedi says, I still ride mini ramp BMX. That's cool. Yeah, my a friend of mine who I taught, and then he took what I taught and expanded. Greg Walsh from Wolf Brigade up in New York. He's up in Albany. Did BMX, but now he does a lot of it's kind of a hardcore CrossFit. He created his own mace, which is fantastic. That's the mace that I endorse now. Although I will say I really do like the Addicts mace. That's grown on me a lot, right? But anyway, yeah, BMX, that's cool. That's some scary shit. Let's see. Oh, what's up, Andrew? What are you saying? He says, I'm feeling those squats today. Yeah, he's part of the V10 squad, the Scientific Wrestling Affiliate Gym. Dude, only color belt that matters is gold. That's what it's going to take, man. Right? Like Coacher Earwood is bringing me and John in, and we're doing this. We're not getting a big money deal or anything out of this. We want you guys to succeed. Okay. We're pretty much getting gas money out of the deal. Okay. That's because we want you to freaking win. And the way you're going to pay us is by winning. But to win, you need to be in shape, period. That's just how it works. Right? Oh, and then we got an idiot here. Come on. Now I'm going to have to block you, fool. Fool. What a fool. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, we got haters. He wasn't even putting hate towards me. He was being racist. It's like, dude, seriously? You are freaking dumb. Let's see here. We've got Get After It Gomez. Jiu-Jitsu guy found you because my son does high school wrestling. What's the difference in catch wrestling versus judo jiu-jitsu? Okay. So the difference I would say between catch wrestling and jiu-jitsu is almost imagine a no-gi judo with some high school wrestling and a lot meaner and a bigger repertoire of submissions. I think, honestly, if I can, I think maybe the biggest difference between catch wrestling and, say, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, if I could just nutshell it, and there, there's going to be people butthurt or whatever, and I respect jiu-jitsu. I really do. I always have to say this. I'm on record always saying I think it's a great sport. I think guys are game and tough and all that kind of stuff. I don't do it, but I have respect for those guys, okay? Now, that said, the big difference between catch wrestling and judo, in my opinion, is that, jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu in particular, is that Brazilian jiu-jitsu focuses on one control position and builds all of its various strategies around this control position known as the guard. Now, whether that is your legs wrapped around the guy underneath or your guys wrapped around the guy on the top, like a mount, or wrapped around one leg, a half guard, or a de la Hiva guard, or whatever. It's the same. It's one control strategy. Catch as catch can is not focused with that. Okay. Well, and then there's also a business difference where they market their martial art as a retail martial art. So they're really trying to open strip mall places like Taekwondo did in the 80s, and they're very successful at that. They're everywhere now. Because I remember I was looking for that shit when I was interested in this in the early 90s. And they're everywhere now. It's great. It's amazing, right, for you guys. So now, but because it's retail martial arts, the business model, you make money by making people come back, okay? Over and over and over. 10 years to black belt, 10 years times 12 months of payments, 120 payments at $150 a month. You can do the math. This is how these, and then they get 150 students in this gym. Okay? Now, a catch wrestler is not from a retail martial arts perspective. I'm talking business side. It's a prize fighting perspective. It's closer to Muay Thai. It's closer to boxing, right? So you can have a boxing gym and people pay dues.
I'm not sure.
And they come in, but there's no hierarchy. There's no guru per se. There's a coach and an athlete and fans and a promoter. Okay. That's how that works. And that's how catch is as well. Now, you have to understand. Now, catch also, the control positions there's so many more control positions. And so each athlete can pick different control positions that they prefer in catch wrestling. We have control positions on standing, okay, collar and elbow, over under tie up, collar wrist, front headlock. Like there's a lot of different control positions from which the rest of the game evolves, right? And then on the ground, we have a bunch of control positions that set up submissions, not just primarily one. It's more agnostic about the control position and broader in the control positions. I don't know if that helps. And clearly there's no gi involved, right? The Don Black says, why specifically Hindu push-ups? Why not any other variation? There are other variations. So you can go, and if you go to scientificwrestling.com, there's the Carl Gotch conditioning instructional there, and he shows a bunch of different variations. He has half moon push-ups. So it's not just that. There are other ones, but that was the one that he liked. He really liked. He was influenced heavily by Hindu or Indian, dot, not feather, Indian physical culture, and that's where the gada, the mace, came from, right? And the mace bell came from. So I don't know if that helps you guys, but let's see. I'm just scanning through these comments again. Kendo Jedi says, I feel like it's getting watered down like karate did in the 80s. I mean, maybe it was always that way. I don't know. I mean, just maybe to consider, like, I don't know that it's changed that much, honestly. The other thing I want you guys to understand is the impact of catch wrestling. This is where I believe grappling literacy is important. Okay, this is why I get so mad, because one of the basic things in literacy, science, is citing your sources, right? Not stealing, not plagiarizing. And that's why I posted all that material. The Fighting Library, go to fightinglibrary.com. It's 10,000 pages of historical documents showing different kinds of chokes and leg locks and different kinds of wrist locks and arm bars and things like that have been around forever. Kimura trap, that shit's fucking a ripoff. Okay. I think that it's important for you guys to understand catch wrestling has had a bigger impact than any other martial art on the planet. Let me say that again so you fucking get it, because I don't want to hear any more bullshit. I'm sick of it. I'm going to be real. Catch wrestling has had a bigger impact than any other martial art combat sport on the planet. Do you know why? Nobody took my challenge. No, we had Johan got the prize for knowing the mission of scientific wrestling. I'll tell it to you guys because none of you guys took up the challenge. The mission of scientific wrestling is to get every man, woman, and child on earth to improve their lives through the sport of catch as catch can wrestling, scientific wrestling, the sport of professional wrestling, the sport as either a fan, athlete, coach, promoter, or combination of all four. That's the mission. But why am I so firm, looking you dead in the fucking eye? This ain't even a poker face. This is like, I'm a fucking right face. I'm going to take you money face. When I say that catch as catch can wrestling is the most influential combat sport, martial art to ever exist. Had the biggest impact on today's culture. Why? Why can I say that? Get After It Gomez says, thank you. Also, the jiu-jitsu politics can get ridiculous. All politics is ridiculous. All of it. Catch has it. I refuse to participate. I'm like, fuck off. Dude, I'm a producer. I'm a creator. You can do your little jockeying shit. I know what I'm doing. I'm the one who's done it. I started the fucking competitions again. I created the Mace Bell. I fucking brought out Billy. I fucking made these guys accessible. You can fuck off with your politics and your little jerk off circles. I'm done. I'm just going to keep producing and reaching the people that are like me. Politics in general is trash. All politics, whether it's politics, jiu-jitsu politics, whatever. It's all stupid. It's a waste of time. Kendo Jedi says, catch just makes more sense going across the street for bread, not to China. Yeah, that's what Carl used to say. I was actually when I got to work out with him, it was when the Twister was super trendy, right? And I was like, Carl, what do you think of this? And he just looks at me and he goes, why would you do that? Why would you go all the way to China when you can go across the street to 7-Eleven? And then he showed me this further Nelson variant that is easier to get. Anyway, here's why catch wrestling statistically has had a bigger impact, is more influential, and is the best martial arts sport. This is why Billy would say it the same way I say it, the same conviction. Think about it for just a second. Catch wrestling is this big and this powerful and this important, even though there's not a lot of people who actually know their head from their ass. That's a fact. But it's had a bigger impact than any other martial art. Why? Because it inspired Olympic freestyle wrestling. Anybody internationally who's ever done Olympic freestyle wrestling, that's because of catch wrestling. Had catch wrestling not existed, Olympic freestyle would not exist. That's huge. But that's not it. Olympic freestyle wrestling, okay? That also now is folk style wrestling. Any person that has ever done high school, peewee, collegiate wrestling, wrestling at a USA Wrestling Club, that's all because of catch wrestling. So now we got every Olympic freestyler, every folk styler in collegiate in high school, every professional wrestler from The Rock to Hulk Hogan to Stone Cold Steve Austin and all the fucking movies that they're in and all the people that know their name. Had catch wrestling not existed, that sports entertainment would never have existed. So now we got Olympic wrestling. Now we got high school collegiate wrestling. And then we got pro wrestling. Then we got MMA. Oh, the UFC was started by the Gracies. Okay, dude, you need some grappling literacy before you open your mouth. Have you ever heard of Shudo? Have you ever heard of Pancrase? When did they start? Yeah, just shut the fuck up. It's catch wrestling. Okay? Grady89 says William Regal was mentioning Snake Pit on his podcast. Yeah, I mean, William Regal, he's a student of Marty Jones. Marty Jones is a good friend of mine. William Regal also was jumping on the Matt Fury bandwagon too. It's good. I know his son wrestled and they keep putting over Billy Robinson. And so that's great. Yeah, more influence and more impact. More impact. I don't know what to tell you fucking guys. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just like, these are facts. They're undisputed. And scientific wrestling is number one on the planet, Earth, probably the universe, for catch as catch can. Period. That's who Billy Robinson chose to work with. That's who Carl Gotch chose to work with, Dick Cardinal. Anyway, we're over an hour. I've been blown up. Sorry, I got heated. Guys, if I can help you, I'm always here. If I can help you with combat sports, hit me up. We make ourselves available. Get after Gomez. Thank you for your honesty. It's refreshing. Yeah, it makes me a lot pisses a lot of people off too. But thank you for the nice words. Yeah. So if I can help you with your scientific wrestling, I'm there. Okay. And if I can help you with business, No1 coaching, it's just no1coaching.com. I'll be there to help you make money, put food on the table for your family. And scientificwrestler.com, the affiliate program, is a merger of the two. It's really like truly about professional competitive wrestling. How do you make money doing it? Especially when you're too old and fucked up like me. So you want to talk about if they don't pay attention? Do you know how many injuries I was talking about how Carl would, paying doesn't necessarily mean money. It can mean money. A lot of times money's the easy way to pay. 500 squats, 250 Hindu push-ups, and 3 minutes of bridging is a hard fucking price to pay that very few people ever will pay, or the Gotch Bible. Okay. Just letting you know that. I did all that and paid a lot of money, took a lot of risks. I only have one carotid artery. Collapsed from getting choked so many times on my left side. Got one, paid. Okay. So anyway, hopefully, right? This is the one thing that's great about mentors. Why I sought guys out like Billy and Carl and Grant Cardone and Brandon Dawson and all these other people that I seek out is a mentor. They either know K-N-O-W from maybe one of their mentors, or maybe they were the one to touch the hot stove, and it accelerates your learning. That's why I call it the accelerator camp when you come, coachingcatch.com. Check it out. But I call it an accelerator because there's a lot of information that will speed up your journey instead of you reinventing the wheel, right? That's the importance of mentors. To me, I think that you're much better off with the old model. Okay, so like the old apprentice model, which I find interesting, is exactly what ended up happening with me and Billy Robinson. In the old medieval guilds, if you wanted to be a blacksmith or anything, whatever, or in a trade, you would have to spend 7 years under somebody's tutelage, a master. That's the amount of time I spent with Billy Robinson, learning coaching of catch as catch can from Billy Robinson, master, 7 years. That apprenticeship is the way to go, not college, not school. That's just rote memorization. You have to understand, you need to find a mentor. Does that make sense? So if I can help you, I would make myself available. I don't accept everybody, again. And, at this point in my life, I'm pretty expensive for most people. That doesn't necessarily mean money. I might require a lot of squats out of you. We don't know. But I want to see if you're really, if they don't pay attention. Again, Grant Cardone. It's the truth. All right. So guys, you have a great day. Make the most out of it. Learn something, know something to get past those no's. All right, guys. Appreciate you. Catch you next time.